let's just sew whatever. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are making the Minerva tote from Bagstock Patterns. This is giant, okay? Massive, like massive. I love the color combination that I've chosen. I love all the materials I used. What I don't love is how I chose to use them. So you can see right here, this is going to be your trickiest spot. There's 2 zipper tabs, so don't use a thick fabric. Maybe it probably said that, I didn't. It's fine, I used what I wanted to. But then there's a lining for this zipper pocket, a lining for this zipper pocket, and then you're top stitching through it all up here. So it got real hairy real fast. I added a crossbody strap with these D-ring anchors from Sonar. I don't think I set that rivet all the way. Oh my God, what a mess today. The cap kind of was a little wiggly, but it's okay, I got it back. I can't say that I am absolutely in love with this pattern, but I think it is really cool. I love the way those pockets come together, but again, my materials were not great. I did try the zipper pocket as shown in the pattern, and I'm not good at it, but that's okay. The inside is really pretty. I used some fun materials. This is a Theratex lining from Fabric Therapy. It's just not, it doesn't have enough structure for me, but it is a nice swooshy nylon fabric for like belt bags, fanny packs, things of that nature. But I don't know that I love it for the lining of a bag because, like I said, it's just, it doesn't have enough like structure, but it feels nice, which is nice. Then we've got a big zipper pocket inside with a lot of structure because we use waterproof canvas, and then a nice zipper on top. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, it is a very cute style of bag. It has a lot of great techniques used. As always, I love Bagstock patterns, but I think there just isn't quite enough structure in places. It's all interfaced with fleece. So maybe some Decaville light in places would have been good. You could also make this bag with just using the back panel. You don't have to add those zipper pockets if you don't want to. Or you could do like a long zipper pocket or find a different pattern. I don't know. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. It's just not 100% love for me right now, but maybe later I will look at it and love it. But it's massive. Okay, let's go ahead and sew it if you want. Now that you've heard me say, like, I may not love this bag, but the pattern's good. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think if I had added maybe Decaville light out of the seam allowance to the bottom, I wouldn't hate it as much because I just feel like the bottom is so slouchy, dumpy. I just used Decaville light down there, or Decaville heavy. Maybe 2 layers would have helped as well, but like. So I'm gonna go ahead and start out making all of our straps. We've got the handles, and then I'm adding a crossbody strap. It's not part of the pattern, but it's such a big tote that I think it would definitely benefit from having one. I am using neon pink thread from geekyhardware.com. It is a Tex 80. I definitely like the feel of the Tex 80. I definitely love the Amon threads the most, but I do love the colors that Geeky Hardware offers. Okay, I've got my machine threaded. This bag really is not hardware heavy, which is fun, but I've got zipper tape here. I do have a video cutting out this bag I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna rarely reference the instructions. I read it over last night and I was like, I got this. So maybe that's gonna bite me in the butt. Probably. So we'll see. I'm gonna start by cutting out 2 zippers for the front pocket. There is a zipper panel closure, I'll cut that later, and then an inside zippered pocket. So I've got my wad of zipper tape here. I'll set these aside for now. And like I said, there's a lot of handle in this bag. Those are my front accents. Some of these pieces might be the top of my lining. We shall see. Okay, handle, 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 crossbody. So, like I said, the crossbody is not part of the pattern, but I'm gonna go ahead and start with that just to get it out of the way. And basically what we're gonna do is we're going to fold both pieces down into the center. You can mark this out or eyeball it. I cut my strap to 3 inches wide at the base so that it would fit a 1.5 inch wide slide adjuster and snap hook. We'll just slowly kind of peel this. And you want to press it right up against each other. So that they're the exact width that you need them to be. And I went ahead and cut my strap out of the length of the vinyl, so it might be like 54, 56 inches. And then I also cut from the length of the waterproof canvas. This is, I believe, 1.75 wide. So there should just be a slight overlap, or I should say, yeah, this should overlap that by a little bit. Okay. And I could even trim this now to be the size I need it to be. Save that little scrap. I am using a glazed clay vinyl that I carry on my website and the waterproof canvas that I carry on my website. This is one of my own prints. This print is releasing August 1st. We do have releases every 1st and 15th of the month of new items, but we always have tons in stock. So if you're interested in supporting my channel and what I do, definitely through my website is the best way to do it. And then you get a product too. We love that. Thank you. Waterproof canvas is definitely a sturdy material. No interfacing needed. And so you can fold all of one side down to start. Measuring the center is definitely the best way to achieve a beautiful strap. I have just made so many that I've gotten pretty good at eyeballing the center. Like 7 years of, maybe 8 years of making straps. Got pretty good at it. The tape that I am using is from Weft and Warp Co., but I do carry it on my website. Two of my friends are not fans of this tape, and I love that for them. They prefer the Will Walk tape. I think this tape's really good. Like, I don't have issues with it. So if you're in a more humid area, or you're, I mean, maybe you won't like the tape. I don't know. I really like it. But what's nice is that there's all kinds of places to get tape, and you can like whatever tape you want. I still love you. All right. Man, okay, that was a workout. All right, so now we're gonna need even more tape. I'm gonna choose to use 1/4 inch wide tape for this. I don't want it to be really, really tape heavy. Just think about it, you'd have 3 pieces of 1/2 inch tape right down the center. It would make for like a crunchy feeling strap, I think. Oh man, and then we get to do this for the handles too. Yay, so much. But they are very domestic friendly straps to make because they're double-sided, so you can still use vinyls and thicker materials because they'll be in smaller doses. All right, so now I'm slowly peeling my 1/4 inch wide tape and pressing it down. I could have also used like 2 pieces of 1/8 inch wide along either side, but this looks good. I don't know that I've ever done a 1.5 inch wide strap like this. You could also use a seam roller to help you press all this down if your hands maybe aren't able to do all that. All right, my stitch length is at 5. Got my strap ready to sew. I didn't forget how to sew, maybe. And then I'm going to start in one of the edges at 1/8 of an inch from the side of our accent piece. And then sew over and back down. And then if you want to add multiple lines of stitching, you can do that. Looks so pretty. Oh my gosh. I love that hot pink thread with it all. It's so nice. All right, I've got this extra piece here that I haven't decided. Yeah, I'm gonna cut it off. I was gonna say I can't decide, do I wanna cut it or not? All right, and then just a 1.5 inch snap hook and slide. We're gonna start with our slide adjuster. And this is where you decide what is the top of the strap. Do I want it to just be the blue and then you peak the flowers, or do I want it to be flowers up? I think I want it flower up. So I'm gonna have the blue vinyl side facing up and wrap the flower end around. And we'll just do a little, you can either do a box stitch or like 2 parallel lines, whichever one feels easier for you. Back stitch at the beginning and end. Depending on your materials, just be careful you don't over stitch, or you could end up perforating your materials. Why do I have an empty bobbin there? Could be Dorothy. All right, so now we've got the wrong side, quote unquote, face up. We're gonna take one of our snap hooks, hold it in our hand, and wrap around, folding it over top. We're gonna go over our raw end here, over and under, to make this an adjustable strap. So you can see, it looks so pretty. And then we've got this end here, the bottom facing up, or the quote unquote wrong side, and we're gonna wrap this around. So it's gonna be up to you if you wanna try to fold this under or add a strap end. I think this looks fine, but I will do a box stitch here. I think it looks better. I apologize for my hand. This is Dorothy's artwork. It's Romeo from PJ Masks. All right, so that is our strap, crossbody strap completed, which is not part of the pattern, but it's that same method for the handles, so we can set that aside. And continue on with all the taping. If you're using woven fabrics, you don't need to tape. You can iron it. So that's nice for you. I'm doing this now, besides it being in the instructions, we've got full bobbins, so this is the best time to do it. And we're gonna need them when we get started. So I think this is gonna be one of the most time-consuming parts of the bag, and everything else is just kinda gonna fly together as we move along. When you are folding these vinyl straps, I would start in the center and push out on either end so you don't get twisted straps. You're not going to be stretching it in one direction and then stretching it in the other. And then again, if you were doing a folded flap strap, you would not want to butt these up against each other. You'd want to make room for the bulk so that you had a true 1-inch wide strap. But since we're doing our handle with 2 layers of fabric. You want it to be right up against each other in the center. And again, 1/4 inch wide tape. Alrighty. And this is, like I said, it's pretty time consuming, but the more you make them and do straps like this, the faster it gets over time. I would not fold and tape these and then walk away. You'll want to start putting everything together as quickly as possible, unless you clip it together maybe, but you don't want your tape to pop while you're in the process of doing all this. And then I'm just making sure I'm pressing it as close as possible. Oh, dang. Okay, that's cut way longer than it needs to be, but I didn't measure it. Because yeah, that is accurate. That is not. I cut them just longer, but I'll save these. You never know when you're gonna need it. I'll go ahead and tape this down and top stitch. And normally I wouldn't like to peel all of that at once, but I think it's okay because I'm holding the top half in my hand and I'm kind of pulling on my fabric as I'm placing it, so that I know it's nice and taut. And then we'll go ahead and stitch this. You're going to be hiding the ends into a seam, so it's up to you if you want to stitch over it or not. Handle. So pretty. Hi, Ben. You coming to hang? All right, go to your spot. So I'll set this over in my strap pile. Well, go to your spot if you're gonna come hanging out. Go on. Go to town. Go way down. Go way down. Go on. Gray spot. Go on. Lay down. He says, Mom is late. Hi. Thank you, baby. What you want? What you need? Okay, you've got to go to your spot. Do you want to lay in my lap? Want to get in my shirt? Go on. Go to your spot. Go on. It's almost like you have to earn being able to make your bag. You gotta get through them straps. You just gotta do it. And the reward is finishing the rest of the bag. Now I am just eyeballing the distance between each side of the bag, but you could definitely draw some lines to help you get it exactly centered if and you wanted to do that. We did it. Okay, we can move on to the rest of the bag. Maybe. So I realized I cut my zipper tabs out of vinyl, which is not a good idea. So I'm gonna recut at least the lining out of the waterproof canvas. And to be fair, you probably don't even really need a lining, but it'll keep it from wearing down over time. So I'm gonna add zipper pulls really quick because the zipper tabs go at the top of your zipper pull. I am using Chevron zipper pulls from my website, and then this like hot pink black nickel that is also available on my website. All right. So I believe it's a 1/2 inch seam allowance, but the piece is cut a little bit longer, so there's definitely room, there's wiggle room. But you want the zipper to be facing up to the zipper tab. I'm gonna put my exterior facing right sides together with my zipper tab and add the lining to the back. The seam allowance in this pattern is generally 1/2 inch. Unless you're dealing with zipper, then it's going to be 3/8 of an inch. All right, so we're folding that up and top stitching along the top. And now we've got left and right pockets that we're going to be dealing with. So they're mirror images, and then this is our center piece. So I'm going to start with one here, and I'm just going to use tape. So this is where I want my zipper to go on this side. So I'm going to add some double-sided tape. We're going to line this up. You want to line the zipper tab up with the top edge, and then you'll have a little bit of excess zipper tape to the bottom. And then we've got 2 of these pieces that are a little bit bigger, and you want to sandwich it right sides together. Again, I'm going to use tape for this. Sure it's pressed. Okay, and then we'll line all that up together. And then this is going to be a 3/8 inch seam allowance, as close as you can. I should have moved my zipper pull. So we're going to press all that flat. You can zip your zipper all the way up. And then we're going to top stitch through exterior and lining. And your lining is going to be way longer than it needs to be, but that's good, that's okay. We'll just top stitch through all those layers, making sure things don't shift. And then that excess lining piece is going to get lined up with the side edge here. And then you can baste it or tape it, whatever you'd like to do. And then I'm going to baste along the top. I like 1/8 of an inch. And then same with the bottom, which I guess we could have just made like one layer, like one U shape starting at the bottom, but this works too. And then at this point we've closed our zipper tape off, and we can trim that excess away. All right, so that is the right side. So now we're going to work on the left side. So adding tape where we want the zipper. And zipper face down, lining up the zipper tab. And if your zipper tab is wider than it needs to be, you can trim it to be the same width of your zipper tape. She just has it a little bigger to allow for any size differences that may exist. Okay, and then right sides together. You don't have to tape your lining in place if you don't want to. 3/8 or as close as you can. I have a skinny foot on my machine so I can get close, especially if I move my zipper pull out of the way. And just make sure you readjust your layers if you do move your zipper pull so that your teeth don't shift. We can zip that back up. Press that nice and flat. Seam roll it if you'd like. And then flip it. Okay, and then we'll top stitch that. And then fold our lining to meet that open end of zipper. And then this time I can try that U shape. And then make sure you trim your threads as well so they don't creep into one of the seams. I'm going to take my lighter across my zipper end down there just to keep it from fraying over time. It's going to be stuck in a seam, but just in case. Just don't go so far that you start to like melt and separate your teeth at the bottom. That would be bad. Okay. Zipper tabs to the top. Zipper pulls zipping up. If you want them to go in opposite directions, you can. I don't see why you'd necessarily want to, but you do you. And then we're gonna sew our center strip at that same 3/8 of an inch on either side of the zippers. So if your print is directional, keep that in mind. Just gonna lay that into place. Try not to stretch it. Okay, I'm starting on this side because that is not where my zipper pull is. So I can get pretty far before I have to unzip. And then I'm pressing my finger along that seam so that my zipper tape hasn't gone wonky. And then I'm going to press it open and top stitch. If for any reason your stitches are not, or your seam allowance was not consistent, you can kind of fudge that right now as you're pressing this. You can kind of eyeball the distance between your vinyl and your zipper tape and make sure it's even. Okay. Yay. We'll repeat this on this side. So zipper tab face up, lining it up with our vinyl there. And then I'm going to start this way since my zipper pull is up at the top. 3/8 of an inch. I'm getting close to my zipper pull. So I'm just going to lift up, unzip, quickly run my finger along that seam and make sure got it all, and then voila, move on. All right, and then make sure as you're pulling this that your piece is a rectangle. Okay. And then you're going to take this to your cutting table or find your center at the top here. Find your center for your top panel. Don't attach it yet because you still have those straps, babe. Just saying. Okay, got the center. And then see if you need to trim anything off. Looks like I've got like 1/4 of an inch to trim maybe. So right now I'm just going to clip the center. Okay, I've got about 3/8 to cut away. And whatever you trim from one side, you'll be trimming to the other. Okay. Yes, good. Oh wait, no, that's half. There we go. Alrighty. Whee. Okay. So we can set this aside for a second. We've finished that. You could do that on the back side if you want. You could make it a big pocket on the back if you'd like. I thought about it and I was like, well, technically I could do like a luggage sleeve, but that's a big panel. This is a big bag. So I'm not sure. I think I'm just gonna leave it as is. I'm full of ideas, but maybe not motivation. Just saying. All right, we're gonna work on adding our handles now. And the handles get placed 3.5 inches from the center. And this is a 1/2 inch seam allowance, so I'm not worried about my pen markings showing up or anything like that. And now you get to decide. In the pattern, she has it so that your accent fabric is to the back, but I want it to the front, y'all. This is pretty strap. I want it to pop on the front. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna add some 1/2 inch double-sided tape to the back side here. Just a little bit. Repeat. I'm probably gonna sew one side first. And then worry about taping everything else down. Yeah. So I'm gonna start with one for now. And then, yeah, it's a nice distance. You can see it makes a nice handle shape. And then I think she has you do like 2 rows of stitching. I'm gonna go 2 inches up and make a little mark, and that's how high we're gonna sew that, just so we have plenty of room for top stitch. And then we'll be adding a rivet through the exterior when we add the foam. And she has you do 2 rows of stitching, one at 1/8 of an inch, I believe, and one at 1/4. And that's because this is such a big bag and you do not want those straps to go anywhere. Yeah. I was just gonna say, she has you do 2 rivets as well, pretty sure. I almost feel like the 2 rivets is gonna be enough. I think it'll be enough. I don't want to add another row of stitching because it's already like a lot going on. I shouldn't, but I want to. So make sure your zipper tabs are to the top. Line up your center. And when I was reading over the pattern, I was like, man, you don't need those zipper tabs, but you top stitch through your, the lower panel, not the upper panel. So you do need those zipper tabs or you're gonna be top stitching through your zipper tape. You don't wanna do that. But keep in mind, this is pretty thick with all of those layers. Because yeah, this is a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Lately I've been doing so much 3/8 inch seam allowance that I'm like, 1/2 inch, oh my God. If you need to, you can move those zipper pulls out of the way just in case. But I think we're gonna be okay. If you hadn't done a stay stitch on the pocket lining pieces, you would want to make sure those don't shift. All right, now we've got a lot of bulk with all of that lining, but like I said, we are top stitching through this, pushing our seam down. Oh, hell no. Yikes. Okay. Probably should have just done vinyl and not the waterproof canvas because right now I'm sewing through 1, 2, 3, like 6 layers of vinyl in some spots. Maybe even. Okay, I think I can trim some of this down, especially at the corners. Yikes. Maybe I made it worse. But like, you can't fold that up because of those handles, so you gotta fold it down. We're gonna do it. We're gonna make it work. Man. So I'm going nice and slow over all these layers. Oops, sorry. Nice and slow. It's gonna be a mess right here. I mean, this machine can handle this. Yeah, no, don't do this if you don't have an industrial. I probably should have used water resistant canvas to line this front pocket. Definitely no vinyl for those zipper tabs. But it's gonna be super sturdy right here. So it's good. It's midnight, y'all. I hope I don't regret this. The back panel is going to be a breeze, so that's good. Not my best work. I definitely didn't sew that in my head and realize it might look like that. But I think in the end, it's gonna be okay. It's just like extra bulk, nothing, extra bulk. And that center is just like nothing there. So it kind of wants to sit weird, but we're gonna add foam later and maybe it'll look even worse. I don't know. I'm not adding any purse feet to the bottom of the bag, but let's go ahead and sew the bottom on and then I'll catch up with all that. I just want to see what it's gonna look like. All right, 1/2 inch seam allowance. These colors together, though, are so pretty. I wonder if I could have just not top stitched right there. It's so jubbly. There's really no other way to describe that. Just anyway, it's okay. This bag is massive, oh my god. All right, handles, again. 2 inches. Make sure lined up. And I'm going from the outside, so technically the handle is going from 3.5 to 4.5 from the center. You could technically place it inside, but it might look a little funky. I feel like that proportion is really, it comes down to personal choice for handles and straps, and you gotta think too, like what is comfortable to wear and what your customer, if you're selling bags, or what the receiver would want in the bag is all very important. All right, this side's gonna be a breeze, let me tell you. All right, keep in mind what direction you want everything to go. So this will face down. So we want it to go this way. And you could use tape or clip. I feel really bad, but I don't think I'm gonna add a nameplate to this bag. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if you've earned that with that front panel looking the way it does. You could definitely tape this in place so that there's no shifting. It's a lot of layers, such a large bag. Okay, and then this is gonna get folded down. Oh, look at that, that's easy. That's pretty. Oh yeah. All right. Now we add. Oh. Sorry. This. I'm gonna tape this because shit's gonna get weird if I don't. Keeping that lined up with our 1/2 inch seam allowance. Open this up. Normally I like to top stitch. I think I can. Yep, this way. Pressing that seam down, top stitching on the vinyl accent down here. And I'm pulling that seam open as I go. Trying to keep my eyes focused on that top stitch. That was tough though. Okay. Oh man. Now comes the hard task of basting the foam. Oh man. Get your claw out of the vinyl, sir. Okay. Okay, this is gonna get crazy, y'all. You probably need to go back to the cutting table for this. But I think we can do it. I think we can. Oh, my back. Okay, foam. Okay, cutting out the foam alone, this should have been my clue This bag is massive. Hey, you're not helping, you're hurting, okay? Put your paw away. So you can line up a couple edges to start. There's a little excess at the top, I believe. Oh no, I'm sorry. And you can spray baste, which I think I might do. I might take this to my cutting table and like spray baste it and let it sit overnight. Oh, that wonky spot is so bad. I'm like, do I add my nameplate to it? I think it'll go away. Maybe I'll put my nameplate through all that. But yeah, there's like 2 inches excess of foam. So next time I would probably cut that smaller. All right, so I've got it flat on my cutting table and I've got a spray baste that I bought forever ago. So I'm gonna spray it, let it sit overnight. Not that that's gonna like really help it set or anything, but it's midnight and I'm tired. All right, I've got that spray basted in place. Pro tip, don't spray your cutting table. Okay, good night. Do you wanna go to bed? Is it bedtime? Do you wanna go to bed? We are going to baste our foam on. It is the next day. I still don't know what to do about this, but we'll baste and see how that goes. I'm increasing my stitch length to like 6, just so this goes even quicker. But this is massive. We have a 1/2 inch seam allowance, so we do have quite a bit of room to baste this down safely. And then of course, make sure you are not sewing through your handles up at the top. This would be a super fun like bag to quilt the whole thing if it didn't have pockets, etc. All right. What a mess. Okay. I think I'm gonna baste the main sections first and then work on those little corner cutouts so that nothing shifts. Dang. I spray basted and let it sit overnight, but I don't think things are immune from shifting with just how massive it is. All right, so pretty much everything is in place. Oh, ran out of bobbin. I knew it was coming. I knew it. So I have a bunch of like half filled or less than half filled. I'm gonna try to get through these, especially since this is just basting. I would stay as close to 1/8 of an inch as you can to that side edge, but if you have to do a 1/4, I think you'd be okay. cut that little bit of extra foam out. All right, we need to rivet on our handles and add your nameplate. Those little things will help keep your foam in place throughout the life of the bag. So I'll go ahead and add my nameplate here. It just looks so bad. Ugh. Alrighty. I might be able to like hide this pretty well. Okay, so 3.5 is the center. So I'm just making a little mark at the 3.5. I'm gonna move my ruler down so that I can center 2 inches over that. And now when I go to poke this through, I need to be really careful that I'm not cutting through both layers because I've got it folded on itself right now. So just keep that in mind. And you want to poke through the foam, but not like your stitches or anything like that. All right, it might not be the worst thing. I'll add 2 rivets to this. I'm trying to think of how I want to do that. I feel like I had some kind of rivet tool, but all of those are covered in machine oil, so maybe I won't do that. But I can line this up to the center and I can do like a 3/8 and a 1 inch. Line that up to the center, do a 3/8 and 1 inch. So 1, 2, 3/8, 1 inch. I think my pen is dying. Okay. So I'm going to hole punch and add my rivet. Okay. Well, don't act like I hit you. Go to your spot. I kind of thought about stitching down on my Decaville, but decided not to. All right. So I see she has you add just one rivet, but 2 rows of stitching. It really doesn't matter. So we're going to sew right sides together at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to clip those layers together and then really make sure that you line up as best you can all those accent panels. Ooh. All right. And I like to add a clip to the top and bottom of that seam as well. And then we're doing a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Oh crap. Take that stitch length back down as well. And then we will trim that to 1/4 of an inch. And if you need to, you can also cut out the foam from that seam allowance. Okay, lining up side seam. Ow. My poor overused clips. Okay. And we're probably gonna run out of bobbin here. That's okay. Maybe not. We'll trim this down. And then I'm trying to decide, do I want to add my strap connectors now to the exterior? I'm using hardware from Sonar that's just gonna rivet, but I can also rivet through the lining. I think I might do that. I might rivet through the lining at the end. So now we're gonna square the bottom of the bag. We're just gonna fold that on itself where it kind of naturally wants to lay and use a 1/2 inch seam allowance across that bottom. And I do find it helpful to clip the sides just so things don't shift and you know, like nothing's folded on itself. So yeah, this bag is massive. All right, 1/2 inch seam allowance, back stitch at the beginning. You could add 2 rows of stitching if you wanted, like maybe one at 3/8 and one at 1/2. just for reinforcement, but I think we're gonna be okay. Okay, we're going to be putting the lining inside the exterior, so like as much as I want to see how it's looking so far, I also am like, no, I don't want to. So we're just going to tuck the handles down inside, kind of shape the bag a little bit, but you can see just how big this is. We'll set that aside for now. We're going to move on to our lining. Super exciting. This is our big zippered pocket. Where does she want us to start? Okay, so she wants us to start with the zipper pocket, so we'll do that. I've got my lining here. I'm using Theratex from Fabric Therapy, waterproof canvas. It's going to be an interesting combination. I'm going to grab some zipper. Perfect. Close enough. I'm going to attach my zipper pull. And she is having us draw a 10.5 by 1/2 inch box on our zipper facing here on the wrong side. And I do have a 10-inch zipper box. Perfect, we'll just draw that on there. It's not going to matter that much, but it's just a little smaller. I think it's safe to say that my pen, yep, has run out. Okay. All right, we'll set this aside, and we're gonna place our zipper kind of like I do for any other zipper with an overlay, except we're not doing an overlay. So you want your zipper face up, your lining face up. We're going to sew that into place. That was quick. Got another bobbin to dump. And then attaching right sides together, well, zipper face up. You want to imagine you're opening your zipper pocket. And then if you can iron this down, perfect. Otherwise, I just top stitch it. So that sits flat. Got a loose thread. There we go. Okay, so 1.5 inches down from the top is where we're going to be placing our zipper facing. And we're going to center that. This is a 12-inch ruler. I think she has you pin this down, and I'm just going to pray for dear life. You can decrease your stitch length a little bit. And then you can do the whole zipper box if you want. I like to just do the 2 parallel lines and back stitch at the beginning and the end. And then we'll cut this open. And we're going to snip right at that line. You want to use some really sharp scissors. And if you make your little triangles at the end too small, when you're not sewing the sides, they could pop in, so just be careful of that. We're going to flip this through. And roll that facing down. And this method really is just to add more structure to the opening of that box. Thought I saw something come down here and I was like, whoa. Now I can't really iron these fabrics, so I'm going to use a pretty heavy seam roller. And then I can also tape it down a little bit. So I kind of feel like if I'm gonna do this method, I would just do it like a zipper box normally, or do a vinyl overlay. But I do understand that this makes it so there are no raw edges. Or I should say you don't see a raw edge of your zipper tape inside the lining. But I think I like the look of an overlay better. So I'm going to add some tape. And I'm going to peel the tape off of the top edge first. And get that in place. Oh boy, this is a mess. Well, I think it's about as good as I'm gonna get. As I'm pressing this down, kind of pulling my lining fabric away from the overlay, but not so much that you see it. And then we'll stitch this all in place. So, I mean, it kind of looks like I've never done a zipper pocket before in my life. But again, it's just a method I'm not used to doing. And it's such a big zipper pocket. Well, if nothing else, you can see that and think, well, at least I can do a zipper pocket better than that. So you're doing all right. All right, and then we'll trim, trim that down. And that's gonna be how we birth the bag. You can see that facing at the top is adding extra structure, so that's good. And then we're just gonna sew along the left and the right of that pocket to close it off. And I like to fold up both bottom layers. And then we'll trim this excess. And then open this up. Wow, never in my life has a zipper pocket looked better. Okay, so now we're doing the sectioned, the cargo pocket, slip pocket. So I've got my big piece here and my other lining piece here. And I wanted to add this cork tag because it just makes me giggle, you guys. It says hang in there. All right. So I'm gonna stitch down the top edge of this pocket. I didn't want to have to like fold in the sides. Normally when I do a waterproof canvas cargo pocket, I'll make it span the entire width of the bag, but we'll see what we can do. But I know I want to top stitch the top, so I'm going to fold that down just by like 1/4 of an inch. top stitch the top edge. And then generally I'll just tape the bottom edge. So if this is your first time making this cargo slip pocket, it can be a bit tricky. We're gonna find our center first and fold. And then on the back side, I'm laying my ruler 1 inch next to the center fold. And then I'm gonna top stitch through the exterior, top to bottom. And then we're going to repeat that on the other center line, on the other side of the center line, I should say. Fold our fabric over the ruler, slide the ruler out. And you're top stitching on the exterior. Taking my lighter to any threads. Okay. And then just in case we lost it, I'm gonna find that center, make a nice deep crease. And this is gonna go 2.5 inches down from the top edge, which is my ruler exactly. 6 is the center. Top edge of my pocket at the top edge of the bag, and we're going to sew down the center. And she has you do a little V shape to prevent that from coming undone. I think usually I'll do like 2 lines on either side of the center line, but this will work just fine. And then we're going to fold this, fold those folded edges over top of your center line, and that is that. If you wanted to fold these under, you can. You could even add a little strip of fabric over top. I think we're going to be just fine. We're sewing along the bottom, back stitching where those pockets connect. And now I'm like, well, where do I want to put this? So if I put it here, it might be hidden. If I put it here, that's a little weird. If I put it to the side, a little funky. Okay, that's kind of funny actually. I'll put it by the zipper pocket because I can move all that extra fabric out of the way, and maybe it'll distract from how terrible my zipper pocket looks. Yeah, maybe, hopefully. That'd be good. You think so, Ben? You think so? All right, so since we already have our zipper pocket installed, we gotta be very careful to flip all that fabric out of the way. So I'm trying to grab my starting thread. There we go. Pull that through. So that I can line those up, just so. And then leave those tails nice and long. Pull it through. Tie the starting ones together. A couple of times. And the ending ones. And you want to make sure you're using a really strong thread when you're doing this, especially since you got to pull it pretty tight. Then you can use duct tape to keep it in place, glue, just going to use a little bit of tape. It looks so good. That doesn't, but that does. Oh boy, okay. Oh, too far. So we're going to be working on the zipper closure. She does hers a little bit differently than I normally do mine. So part of me is like, don't do it, just do the way you do. But the other part of me is like, you've already been doing it, so just do it. Okay, I did not interface my zipper panels. I've got 2 layers of waterproof canvas. That's enough. It's going to be thick enough. Let me grab some zipper tape, the last piece. We want this to be quite a bit longer than 20 inches. All right. The width of the bag is 20 inches, so let's go ahead and cut it to like 23 for now. Or whatever the pattern says to do. I didn't read. Oh, it says 20 inches, but that's fine. So basically what she does is she'll put right sides together. She's got one edge folded over the interfacing, and then you're gonna sew an L. I'll do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna learn something new. There's so many different ways of doing something very similar, so it's really just up to what works with you. what works with you, what works for you, you know? All right, we're gonna open up the sides, and I'm folding, I'm making like a corner, like, I'm folding these edges together, and then it kind of just sits on itself like that. There's all different ways people do this. Again, whatever works for you, man, woman, person, cat. Clearly this isn't working for me. I just like to have the raw edge of my cut tape lined up with the finished edge of my tape on the side. This tape is really stiff. And you can base that in place, you know, sew it together. I will generally use my lighter and kind of melt it together. And normally this works well for me, but for some reason right now, not so much. There we go. My zipper pull was in the way. Okay. You want to get the edges melting and then pinch them together. Don't burn yourself. Okay, yeah, nice. All right. And so this, we're going to be using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Fold one short end of all the main zipper closures 3/8 of an inch to the wrong side. So if we're folding it at the 3/8, we want to make a mark that is 6/8, which is 3/4. Yeah. Yeah. I knew that. I just needed to see it. So we're going to be doing that for all 4 on one edge. Making a mark at the 3/4. If you interfaced your zipper panel, you would just fold it over the interfacing. And I'm just going to use 1/4 inch tape on the inside of that line. And fold this to meet the line. Tote. So that folded edge is the back side. And now I'm just deciding, how do I want my zipper panel to go? So that's where I cut it. So I think that's what I'll do. And then these will be my lining. Oh. No, I like this for my exterior. Okay. So double-sided tape where the zipper is gonna go. This is just so we don't forget. All right. And then I'm going to start with one side, peel off the tape. And this is going to get placed 3/8 of an inch from the short raw edge. So our unfolded edge, just come down a little bit. And I'm going to press that into place. And then we'll take one of our lining pieces and clip our folded edges together, right sides together. You can absolutely use double-sided tape here if you want. I don't necessarily mind because I've got one edge good to go. All right, and then we're going to start at the short raw edges with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. If you decided to interface your zipper panels, you'll be sewing right next to, but not through, your interfacing. And then we're pivoting down to continue on. I'm going to zip my zipper together at the top, increasing my stitch length back to about a 5, and I'm back stitching just before I get to that folded edge, or not just before, but like 1/8 of an inch from where that folded edge is. Cut that at an angle and trim the top. And we'll turn that through. Okay, I'm pressing that seam flat and then folding wrong sides together and lining up our folded edges. And your zipper should be right side up with your fabric right side up. Okay. I'm just gonna take my screwdriver and poke it carefully into that corner. There we go. Help poke that corner out. And then we'll sew around all 4 sides, hopefully. That's actually nice. I like that. Looking good. Now we're going to take the other side that we've got tape on, peel that tape off, folded edge down at the bottom, and line that up with the unsewn edge of our zipper tape. Press that down. Right sides together, folded edges lined up nicely. And then I think for this side, I'm going to start down at the bottom and then end at the pivot. So 3/7 inch, just 1/8 of an inch before that fold. Oh, all right. Thought so. Got one more bobbin. I don't trust. Oop. Definitely not now. Like, it's just a little loose, so I worry about tension. But we'll try it. What are you doing, Ben? All right, I'm getting close to my zipper pull. So I'm gonna unzip, keep those layers together, and pivot to the 3/8 inch. I'm gonna do a little back stitch in that corner. All right. Pop that corner out. Just be careful that whatever you're using isn't so sharp that it's going to poke through and make a hole in your layers, please. And then this is the underside of my panel, and this is the right side of my panel. Face up. And I'm just pressing that seam flat so it's sitting on top of each other nicely. And then we're ready to sew it. So we're going to fold this in half and snip the center. And then grab our lining. I'm going to start with the zippered side so that our zipper pulls zip shut to the same direction. And look at that. You don't even see the zipper pocket anymore. You could tape this in place. I'm going to sew it down just because that Theratex is real slippy. I don't want anything to shift. Just going to baste at 1/4. No, 1/8, sorry. Up to 1/4 would be fine. Yep, and then a 1/2 inch seam allowance to attach the top of the lining. then this is going to be a perky zipper panel, so we're going to stitch under. So I'm pulling those layers apart, and make sure your zipper pocket is facing down. And then we'll repeat linings right sides together. Line up those center snips. Zipper teeth face up. Imagine you're unzipping the bag, looking inside. You want your zipper teeth at the top, looking at you. I see a lot of posts and like So Whatever Facebook groups and stuff like that where people put their zipper upside down, and I'm like, no. It can be tricky at first, but if you're able to kind of imagine your bag finished, I know that's hard to visualize sometimes, but you're going to be looking inside the bag. Where you going, Ben? We'll go on and get then. Okay. I'm gonna say go back to your spot. There you go. So we're laying the lining down. Make sure you're not top stitching through a cattail. All right, sir, you're gonna have to go. Right now I'm on the inside of the bag, so I don't see my zipper teeth. All right, you can put right sides together. Gosh, such a big bag. Lining up our side seams. Tuck that zipper tail in. We'll be adding some zipper end hardware in the end, or leaving it as a glitter clip. We'll find out. I'm gonna leave part of my bottom lining open as well to birth through. So I'm going to start at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to slowly increase to the 5/8. We're just going to sew a couple inches of the bottom shut so that I can square the bag. I'm keeping a consistent 5/8 at the moment, but I'm at the side of the bag again. So I'm gonna switch back to 1/2 inch so that when we get to the top, it's at 1/2 inch, which is consistent with the rest of our bag. Butterfly open this seam. And sew that together at 5/8, which is insane. And trim that down. And then to make sure that your lining fits nicely, we will go ahead and trim down other seam allowance as well. but we don't want to trim the very bottom of the bag just yet because we have not sewn it shut. So if you were to trim it, you're making it harder for yourself to finish later. And just make sure you're only trimming through the layers you need to. I'm not trimming it down at the very top. I want to have that so I can lay it flat. If you prefer to trim it, do it. Alrighty. All right, right sides together, flip it at a zipper end. Let's do it. Let's do it. So we're gonna turn this right side out. I'm gonna add a clip to the end of my zipper here. Turn this right sides out. I like the zipper pocket to be on the back of the bag. Yeah, I think that'll be good. I feel like you could definitely try to add a center divider to this bag. It'd be a lot. And then make sure you're flipping your zipper panel down inside the bag. If you want to, you can add extra center. You can find the quadrants essentially of the bag, so that you're making sure everything is nice and centered. But I'm just gonna line up my side seams and then hope it all works out. Yeah, for that side seam, I'm just setting it flat, pressing my zipper panel down inside and squishing those layers together. Seriously, these poor clips. They've been opened hundreds of thousands of times. And they're plastic. Can't last forever. All right. This is going to be a 1/2 inch seam allowance along the top edge. If you want to, you could start by basting it all together. I think I might do that. Just start by doing a baste stitch to hold the layers together, maybe like 1/4, and then really sew it all together. I'm just making sure everything feels pretty good. I think we are okay. Actually, I think I'll do 3/8 and then 1/4. Or I'm sorry, 3/8 and then 1/2. And then I'll cut above the 3/8 line and we'll have a nice together bag. Like I said, I'm going to be adding my connectors through the lining. My strap connector hardware from Sonar. She came for her class at Sew Whatever Studio in June. We had so much fun. All right, my foam is uneven, so I'm making sure that I'm keeping my fabrics together, my exterior and my lining. All right, and now we're gonna switch to 1/2 inch. Now that I've got everything together, and I'm just feeling through the layers to make sure I'm not sewing through my zipper panel. Okay. And you can trim that down if you want. I'm gonna leave it. I like the structure, but maybe I'll trim the foam out if I can. I don't think I can. We'll see how it goes. I can always turn it back out if it's too much. So because I left the bottom of my bag open, we can turn the bag through there instead of through the zipper pocket. So that makes it easier. Bottom comes out first, and then worry about the rest. Because this is what's furthest away from the hole we're trying to get through here. Press all that out. Press along those seams. It's got a nice structure, and like the bag itself isn't too heavy. Ooh, that's okay. You can see a little bit of my basting stitch, but we're gonna cover it with our zipper panel, or strap connector. So I'm opening up my zipper pocket. I'm gonna fold this down and in really quick and just see what it feels like. It's a little thick. I think we'll be okay though on this machine, truly. The side panel doesn't feel any thicker. My little wonky spot really doesn't look that terrible because of where we added the nameplate. It kind of distracts from it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull my zipper pocket lining up and grab the bottom of my bag. Clip together the center and then finish sewing that shut, and then sew the zipper pocket shut. You can trim the excess if you want. I don't think I need to though. No, I don't think we need to. And at this point, if you want, before you sew your zipper pocket shut, you can kind of clip around the top edge of your bag. What happened there? It's with that foam. So technically I have 2 layers of foam that I'll be sewing through because the seam is folded on itself. So if you could trim that out, if you're using super thick materials or domestic, there's no way a domestic could sew through this right now. Okay. The lining feels nice. I'm gonna go ahead and sew this pocket shut. So folding this in. We're just top stitching that shut about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. All right, stick that inside the bag. Okay, I'm just really poking those corners down into that pocket, making the lining settle, zipping that pocket shut, and then I'm gonna zip my top zipper. I don't know why I like to do these things before I top stitch the bag. I just like to know how it looks. I'm like, where are we at so far on this massive bag? It's really pretty. Okay, let's do this. I feel confident in my bobbin. I'm excited for the strap connectors to be riveted on the side of the bag. I feel good about it. And that lining is sitting pretty nicely. All right. I'm gonna top stitch it this way. It's gonna be a lot to maneuver. You wanna make sure that you're pressing the zipper panel down inside the bag. And you could start on a side seam. I'm starting under a handle. Make sure your needle is down when you reposition, and then you're just kind of refolding those layers. And folding things down. I'm folding my zipper panel under in my hands before I get started on the next section to top stitch. I'm making sure that seam stays seated on itself. Oh, that would be why I feel like it's fighting me. so much bag. My word. This is huge. So I'm just pulling on my threads to try to get everything to one side. I may not be able to, in which case I'll just use my lighter. Could also use like a little bit of glue to help you, yeah, okay, keep everything together. All right. Okay, just a quick singe. Oh yeah, I was like, are we done? No, we are not done. Oh man, I feel like there's air trapped in the bag. I feel like a lot of shaping goes into making bags. I'm gonna add a zipper end another day. I'm not that bothered by it. But I do feel like my lining is a little baggy, even though I increased the seam allowances. All right. Oh. We're gonna use these rivet-on connectors, and you want to kind of bend them to the shape of the bag just a little bit. We're gonna need 4 rivets, 2 for each side. Her hardware does come with them. I just want to use 9mm. Yeah, it's just a little bit bigger. Makes me feel more secure. So I'm just gonna center this over the side seam, 1/4 inch down, and make marks on either side with where I'm gonna rivet. I'm gonna grab my hole punch. And make sure you're only riveting through the layers you want to be riveting through. I don't know that adding like super glue or anything like that is really gonna help keep this together and on, but you could absolutely add some super glue. Oh, make sure you add your D-ring too, so your D-ring slides through there. And then we'll press that into place, but that is what that looks like. I think it's really cute. I like it a lot, actually. So again, just kind of eyeballing the location of that. I saw my friend Liz, for her, because this piece wants to fall when you pinch, she uses a little magnet to keep that from sliding down where you don't want it to go on the hole bunch, just FYI. Okay. So adding your holes, adding your posts. Add your D-ring before you add your caps. And then you'll bend that hardware ever so slightly around the shape of your bag. All right. So we're gonna rivet that into place. I'm gonna add a zipper end another day. I haven't even decided how I feel about this bag right now. But I love the colors a lot. It's just such a big bag. It's so big. That's what she said. Oh my God.